Lacasse, I'm your MC for the day, so buckle your seatbelts and get ready to have some fun. We have a massive schedule for you today. Gonna let everybody roll in a little bit more and get populated, and then we'll get going in about 5 minutes. We're going to get started in about 10 minutes. You all got here really early and you ruined it all. All the youth performers who are performing today, please come on up if you haven't already checked in. And if you have, just come up and just say hey. Hey everybody, Pride 2021. And also 2020. We got a lot of partying to do here. We got a whole year we missed. I'm Chloe Lacasse. I'll be your MC for this afternoon. I'm so honored to be here. I've come to several prides over the last few years. If you guys were here in 18, it was a rain out, but it wasn't a rain out because we all were still here. And it was awesome. And I'm so happy that Hershey had asked me to speak for everyone. So, with no further ado, I'm going to put my glasses on because I'm coming up on 50. Yeah. Don't applause for that. So first, a huge thanks to the City of Portsmouth, of course, and Strawbery Bank with an E, Banke, for the museum and their wholehearted participation in Pride this year. Thank you to our untiring board, our creative, diligent volunteers, and to other contributors, including Seacoast Rep, of course, where all this equipment came from, the Collins Sports Center, and the New Hampshire Council on Development and Disability, whose grant allowed us to have these ASL interpreters to my left, and consultation regarding accessibility to today's event. Of course, thank you to all our sponsors who give financial support so that our LGBTQ community and our youth will be able to find a home with Seacoast Outright. So, I get to flip this page. Every year is the same thing, like long nails and a clipboard. Don't worry, I've done this before. A quick and gentle reminder that even though we are outside, we do ask that everyone wear a mask and be respectful of other space. If you don't have one, not to worry, we have them on hand and they are free. We will not charge you any money. And you don't have to give them back either. Speaking of COVID, you can get your COVID vaccine for free at the New Hampshire mobile van from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. today. I'm not sure where they'll be set up, but when I do find out, I'll let you know. So I might get my booster today, actually. It's always good. A huge thanks. See now, we've got 2 sets of intros here, so I'm going to repeat myself. Porta potties, if anybody has to use a porta potty, they're up back at the entrance. They are brand new and they are really clean, so don't pee your pants for fear of filth. Unless you're into that, then by all means. The Comm Space and Accessibility Consultation by Neighborhood Access, you can go and see Jules. I'm not sure where that tent is. We will find out. It's a comm space, so go see Jules and they will take care of your comm needs. You can want to just put some headphones on, just chill. It's right there for you. We'd like to thank Kent Street Peacekeepers for coming out today and being here helping us keep our events safe. If you, for some reason, need assistance, yeah, huge round of applause up front. I see these folks everywhere. They're out of Concord. They're an incredible, incredible progressive organization. By all means, look them up online and sign up to help out and be a peacekeeper. We want to thank our community partner, BLM Seacoast. Let's give it a huge round of applause. We are incredibly excited to be walking along with them, listening and learning more about how we all can work together to build a more equitable and just future for everybody. Special thanks to New Hampshire on Developmental Disabilities who sponsored this event again. And to all the volunteers out there, there are a lot of you. They all have vests on. Many of them have the logo on the back, so if you need assistance, again, ask for them, a mask, so to speak. And then just give them some love. Let's give a love for all the Seacoast volunteers today. So, with that, I would love to introduce the Executive Director for Seacoast Outright, Hershey Hirschkopf.
Thank you, Chloe. You are brilliant. I would first like to acknowledge the land we are on, Nindakina, which is the traditional ancestral homeland of the Abenaki, Pennacook, and Wabanaki peoples past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land and waterways and Al-Nobak, the people who have stewarded Nindakina through the generations. Welcome to Pride 2021. I'm Hershey Hirschkopf. I am bringing back the mullet. My partner hates it. Seacoast Outright has been serving, supporting, and advocating for LGBTQ youth in the greater Seacoast area of New Hampshire, southern Maine, northern Massachusetts for over 28 years, and due to the pandemic, all of New Hampshire at this point. And this year, I have to say, has been a tough one. It was hard enough on straight kids, but for too many of our queer kids, it was a year of solitude, of isolation, of being trapped at home with unsupportive or hostile parents, not you, you're here, of a lack of peer support and a lack of community. And we saw increased anxiety and increased depression and much, much worse. And there are not enough Zoom meetings that could change that. We want our kids to do more than just survive. We want to see them thrive, to succeed in school, in love, and in life. And that's why we are here today, to celebrate an LGBTQ community that has fought our way to love and life. That has made it just a little bit easier for the next generation, and that will continue to do whatever work is needed to ensure the LGBTQ youth of today become healthy and successful LGBTQ adults of tomorrow. But we cannot be singular in our work. The great Rabbi Hillel said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, who am I? And if not now, when?" This year, Pride, we made a start on that teaching. We reached out to our sister, brother, and non-binary organizations and invited them to join us, especially. We asked Black Lives Matter Seacoast to be our community partner because we must acknowledge the racism within our own community and stand and march with them. Thank you, Black Lives Matter, for being here, and we're going to have a speaker for them shortly. We reached out to the churches and to Temple Israel in Portsmouth, to the Quakers in Dover, to UNH students, to Nashua students, to the Dream Project at Dover High School. They are all here, and to many other groups. Because while this day is a day to celebrate the LGBT community in all of our rainbow glory, we must not forget that the oppression of queer people goes hand in hand with racism, classism, the hatred of women, the hatred of those who are differently abled, with anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim movements, with anti-Semitism, and with all of the many hate movements which have existed for years and which are on the rise today. We cannot just show up when it directly affects only us. If I am only for myself, who am I? Okay, I have to get through this before I make myself cry. We must understand that we live or die with others in common cause. If not now, when? We must give our time, our energy, our money, and our hearts to working with each other. We must make art, we must talk to neighbors, we will write, we do drag, we can call our senators and our state reps is right here. How can we keep from singing or creating or canvassing or voting? And because we're queer and we're here, we parade and yes, we march. Thank you and happy Pride, and see you all in June.
Is Representative Pappas in the house? He is. Well, we all know this guy. I have had the luxury of introducing him at many events over the last couple of years. He's doing incredible work down in Washington, and he has a few things to say for us.
Well, it's great to be with you all. Happy Pride. I'm glad that we can get together in this space and celebrate the diversity, the inclusiveness of our communities, and to make sure that we are projecting that to the rest of the state, to the rest of the country. I think we get it right here in New Hampshire. This is a state that is a live and let live state, where I think we fundamentally understand that we are better off when everyone can be themselves and when everyone is supported. And that goes for our community life, it goes for our economy, it goes for every way that you can measure the success, the prosperity, the wellness of our community. We are better off when people can live their truth. So, as someone who grew up gay in New Hampshire, questioning whether or not there would be a place for me in the future here, I know that we've come a long way, and I can attest to that. Look, I think the reason that we celebrate Pride and why it's so important to us is that for many of us, we weren't proud at some point in time during our lives. And to be able to create the conditions where people can live their truth, where they can be happy, they can love who they want to love and be who they want to be, that's what it's all about. And it's all about creating a better future and a brighter future for each and every one of us and for generations to come. So thank you for being a part of that process. And it's great to be with you here today. We've got more work to do. And I think you all realize that. We have more work to make sure that we stand up to the forces of hatred, bigotry, and intolerance. We've got more work to do to make sure that everyone can be themselves. And I'm conscious of that in Washington. One of the pieces of legislation that we've got to pass is the Equality Act. The Equality Act would add the LGBTQ+ community to our nation's civil rights statutes to make sure that discrimination is illegal when it comes to housing, employment, public services, all sorts of government functions. It's about time we got that done at the federal level, because it shouldn't matter whether you live in New Hampshire, whether you live in Mississippi or any other state. Equal should mean equal, and it's about time we said that loudly and clearly in this country. So thank you for being here. Thank you for flying your flag. Thank you to the allies that are here as part of this event today. We wouldn't be where we are were it not for the support of people in our community and people all across New Hampshire. So thanks for making this a better place to live for generations. Thanks for allowing people to be themselves. And I look forward to joining you in June next year during Pride Month for the 2022 Portsmouth Pride. Happy Pride, everyone.
Let's give another huge round of applause for Chris Pappas. Keeping with our government theme, we have the incomparable Petra Huda. Am I pronouncing that correct? Awesome, I did it right. And Paige Trace.
On behalf of the mayor, the city council, and the entire city of Portsmouth, a warm in-person welcome back and a socially distanced hug to all from the city of the open door to all. I was told to be brief, so I'm going to share with you a quote from Harvey Fierstein that I always keep in mind. Never be bullied into silence. Never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life. Define yourself. And above all, be true to yourself. Thank you for coming.
Hello, Portsmouth. I'm so honored to be here. I'm honored because you are what makes Portsmouth special. You make us a complete city, and it is wonderful to see all of you here today celebrating the fact that we are all individuals coming together to make Portsmouth the city of the open door. I was put on council 2 years ago, and I work for everyone. I work for all of you, and it makes me proud to know that there are youth here today that are strong enough and resilient enough to know where they want to go with their future. And Portsmouth is a city for everyone, not just one type of person. So come find me if you need help. Come find me if you feel that Portsmouth is losing you or forgetting you, because we're all important and we all make Portsmouth special. Thank you for doing me the honor of letting me speak to you today.
I'm back. Get used to this. So next up we have our community partner. I'm going to put my glasses back on again because I'm, what is it? Almost 50. 30, I know. That's what my birthday party is going to be. It's going to be the fine print. Chloe's 30th, and then the fine print, like novels, and it has all the running on, rambling language. It's going to be blah, 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 actually 50 years old. I'm turned into a car dealership commercial. With this year's event, we really wanted to, and we're all really trying our damnedest to make sure that we're working with everybody in the community. And this year, we are so proud to present folks from BLM Seacoast. Representing them today is Sani Bolton. She's a student at Exeter High School and the co-director of Black Lives Matter Seacoast Youth Division and a representative of BLM Seacoast. Sani is going to tell us a little bit about the important work that BLM is doing here in the Seacoast. And as a little birdie tells me, I think she has a poem to share as well. So how about we give a big pride welcome to Sanaya.
Hi everyone. So how y'all doing today? That's good. I love the turnout. Everyone's here. I love it. Okay. So for those of you who have heard, I'm Sani Bolton. I'm a sophomore at Exeter High School, co-director of the BLM Seacoast Youth Division, and just overall representative of the BLM Seacoast. And so for those of you that do not know us, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our table is actually right over there if you want to stop by, donations, you know. And so we do a lot of initiatives within like the Southern Maine, Northern Mass, and overall New Hampshire, Seacoast area. We have our yearly annual gala coming up October 16th. So if you know any sponsors or donations, or just feel free to buy a ticket, come on down, that'd be amazing. We also have other initiatives that we do. We have a college scholarship we give out. We have mutual aid funds and other things as well. And within the youth division, we do a lot of things within the curriculum, because one of our main goals is to kind of educate youth on more diverse concepts and allow that opportunity for them to educate themselves. And so at the table, thank you. And so at the table today, we actually are handing out free books to any youth that are interested in it. All the books are either written by or include characters of diversity within the LGBTQ plus community. And so definitely recommend it. Definitely stop by, get some books, donate again. And so feel free, if you want any more information about us, feel free to visit our website. I'm pretty sure it's blmseacoast.com. We also have a Twitter page, Instagram. I believe there's Facebook at BLM Seacoast, and we also have the BLM Seacoast Youth Division page on Instagram. So feel free to stop by, look at our posts, donate, support. And so I do actually have a poem to read. It's written by Stella Shaddick. She is a senior at Phillips Exeter Academy, right in Exeter, and she's one of our youth division members. And so I just want to share her poem real quick. Dove, fire flickers and dies off in the cold. I asked myself, is anyone around me? I rose and reached for tarnished gold. I stood, so why am I trapped and bound? Contempt never leaves and the door is closed. Spreading your wings is hard when they are clipped. Tethered to what others told me imposed, why must I follow the rules and be stripped? With my robust spring feathers I soar high, others fly with me and spread their wings too. Gliding through clouds that softly caress my body, I escaped my cage and I flew. Unsure no longer, I am always here. I can now state proudly that I am queer. So, and again, that was Stella, another person from our youth division. So thank you for that. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that has come here today, all the allies and the support from the volunteers, from the organizations, and of course all of you showing up today who either marched today, earlier, or just at the event today and showing the support to all the organizations, things like that. So thank you so much. Can I get a hand for everybody here today? And so don't leave too yet, because we have other people from the youth division actually reading poetry today, and we also have many other performers, so that's going to be great. And again, thank you so much, and yeah, thank you.
Keep that applause going. The microphone's a very powerful tool, isn't it? So I'm Chloe Lacasse. I'm, almost 50. I'm a late bloomer, and so I came out at 44. I was very, very lucky enough to kind of have fallen into the trans non-discrimination campaign with a few of our speakers who you'll meet in a little while. And I'm always just so full of joy and love the last few years, because A, I found myself, and B, I'm living the life. I'm living my true self. And, you know, obviously a lot of folks here can identify with that. And, you know, folks who are still unable to come out or not quite ready, we're waiting here for you with open arms when you do. So that being said, my mom is here. There she is. Mom, through your flag. There we go. So my mom is wearing my jacket. You're welcome. And so, which is very funny. So when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was born in '72, and the reality is in the 70s, these words didn't exist, these concepts didn't exist. So when I started demonstrating some femininity, putting on mom's clothes, doing this and that, mom would gently say, no, 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 those are mommy's things, those are not for boys. And so it quietly was pushed away and forgotten about for so many years. So these clothes kind of, you know, for a lot of folks, a lot of trans women specifically, you just have this utter fascination with femininity and this adoration for femininity that you're never fully able to fully realize, because after all, you're a boy and you're not allowed those types of things. So flash forward all these years, I come out, my mom is a fan on Facebook, she doesn't know what the hell is going on. What are you doing out there? Why are you know, what's, I'm like, Mom, I'm out. My Facebook page went from silent to completely like a rock concert disco every single weekend. New people, new faces, going out, just living my truth. So A couple years ago, unfortunately, we lost my stepfather, who was a huge, huge advocate of me. God rest his soul. And so when we were thinking about what was mom going to go afterwards, my sister and I were talking, and my sister was so gracious. My mom lives with her now, but we had to get rid of a lot of stuff. So when we're sitting there on the couch talking about what we're going to do, my mom goes, I got a lot of stuff in my closet that might fit you. And I practically broke out into tears. In fact, I made a Facebook post about it. And I just want to say, Mom, thank you so much. I love you. You are my champion. And I'm so happy to have you here with us today. So, get your butt over to Somersworth and say hi to Emmett Saldati. He's an incredible human being. And as the co-founder of the Affirming Spaces Project, and then I think she's here to talk about just that. Let's give a huge Pride welcome for Palana Hunt Hawkins.
Hey everyone. Before I start speaking, I just want to remind everyone that you should unclench your jaw. Why don't you have your jaw clenched? I did. So I'm here today to talk about coming out. It is National Coming Out Day this Monday. Who's excited to share their story about coming out on Monday? Awesome. Coming out is an act of radical self-love. Coming out is also a radical act of community care. I was assigned male at birth, but I knew myself to be something different. I knew who I was when I was 5 or 6, but I didn't have the language for what I was experiencing. I also didn't have the community. I was just this lone person experiencing what I was, going through. What I did have at the time, though, were the jokes that anyone who defies a sex stereotype or a gender stereotype was to be made a punchline of. This was reinforced by TV shows and movies. It was reinforced by, the people that I was going to school with. So I wouldn't come out until I was 26 years old. And when I did come out, I don't know how many people expected it, because in holding back that one part of my identity, I was holding back so many parts of myself. And right when I came out too, it's like I still didn't have the community. I made it through coming out to, family and friends, but I was living in a state where I didn't really know anyone. And the experience that I had there, I call the fog. Because in New Hampshire, it's really easy to miss connections with people. Everyone is so in their own silo, in their own lane, and it can be difficult to find community. But I started to look around me, and I met people like Jerry Cannon, who's going to be speaking here later. I saw her in the newspaper, and I was like, another trans person who lives in my city. Amazing. There's 2 of us, and then it turns out that there's a whole lot more. I met really great people, like the people who were leading the trans non-discrimination campaign, Lynn's Jakehouse, if anyone knows them. Amazing person, and it was someone who really helped pull me out of myself and start getting out there. And as quickly as I started to see that power in other people, I was recognizing that people were getting that power, or, oh, here comes Lynn's. Everyone just cheer for Lynn's. You don't know who you're cheering for, but they're really great. As quickly as I saw that the power that other people were seeing in me coming out, it was there. And coming out is a total superpower. The fog is really thick, but if we raise our flags and our capes, I see a lot of people wearing their flags as capes, we can all cut through that fog and make it easier for other people. So if you are ready to turn up and help others become visible, I have something that I want all of you to go check out at some point. Back there is an organization called the Affirming Spaces Project. I was just one of many people who helped make this happen. But when you come out, it can be so challenging, you think about your friends and your family, but you don't think about your barber and your mechanic and the people that are making you your coffee. That you kind of have to come out to everyone. The Affirming Spaces Project really, really aims to take some of that burden off of people who are trans or gender non-conforming or LGBTQ large at general by providing free training to businesses and creating this online database. It's at the affirmingspacesproject.org. Where you can go in and you can search, like, I'm looking for food, I'm looking for a place to get my hair cut, I'm looking for a place to get a massage where I'm not going to feel horribly gendered, or it's going to go in the wrong way. They could really use your help. I'm very busy these days, and I haven't been able to help them as much as I would like to. So everyone should go check in with the Affirming Spaces Project. Find a way to get involved in this. This is a total game changer for trans and gender nonconforming people in this area. It's something that I wish that I had, 5 or 6 years ago when I was starting to figure all of this out. So thank you all for being here, for being visible, and I think like everyone else, I'm excited to see y'all back here next year. Thank you, everyone. Let's do it again.
So several years ago, wow, you're really tall. So a few years ago, I was, when we were working on the campaign, Lana and I and all the others, I started doing the when I was with Rights and Democracy and ACLU joined together to do the Trans Non-Discrimination Rally down in Manchester. Some of you might have attended it. We ran it for 3 years. COVID has kind of thrown a wrench into the works. Hopefully we'll be back next summer. So when I was there and I was doing some emceeing, my first attempt at it, now I'm like a pro. So I'm a big hugger. If you're into hugs, find me, give me a hug. I'm totally willing. But a lot of folks who came on stage, I presented that to them. Hey, hug, is it okay? And people were like floored, like, oh my God, yeah, we don't normally do this at rallies. But so, love thy neighbor. It is so important. And my mom's over there. Look at the video. Hey, how are you? It's gonna be all blurry. Oscar winner. So our next act is a dear friend of mine. I know her and her brother. Lane Joslin is here. And I want to say, I lost my place on my thing. There we go. Lane Joslin, she's a 17-year-old junior in high school. She loves playing soccer, theater, and hanging out with friends and family. Who doesn't? She is also a trans girl. She will be sharing an original poem today, and it is about the pride she has to be part of this community and join the club. Let's welcome my friend Lane Joslin.
Hello, friends. This is amazing. Look around. We're not alone. We have everyone here with us. This is amazing. So, this poem that I'm sharing today is about the pride that I have to be part of this community, and I'm just getting a little emotional. Okay. They call me wrong, confused, attention-seeking, mentally ill, too young to know. What I know is, I am strong, not wrong. I'm infused with love, not confused. I don't want or need attention, I just need acceptance. I'm not mentally ill. I'm sick of defending my own right to exist. And we are never too young to know who we are. My existence, our existence is not up for debate. Our society argues about trans access to bathrooms, sports, and medical treatment. Some try to convince us that we aren't worthy of taking up space. 52% of kids like me see that at times they would rather die than live. Are the haters succeeding? Do they not understand that their words, their actions impact us? That they have blood on their hands? But then I remind myself of who we are. We take the stain of hate and we transform it. We force the world to confront the wounds that they have caused. We beat our drums, we make noise, and we are being heard. The sounds echo in the bedrooms of kids who wonder if they are alone, but realize when they hear our voices that they are not. We flourish. We fly our rainbow flag with pride. Our bright colors will not be overshadowed by the darkness of religion and politics and bigotry. We know that after the storm with the dark clouds and the thunderous rain, our rainbow shines through. It is hope. We are hopeful. We are proud of who we are. We are strong. We are powerful. And we have a light that nothing can diminish. Thank you.
Keep it going, keep it going. And I want to introduce another close friend of mine. I have a lot of friends. It's so awesome. Being trans is really working out for me. Melissa Rose is the president and co-founder of Renaissance New England, or R&E for short, and she's of the transgender support group based in New Hampshire, with members from across New England. R&E provides peer support, outreach, and education, including social activities and gatherings for the adult trans and non-binary community. R&E is also a Fisker sponsor of the Affirming Spaces Project, which Polana just talked about a minute ago, and many of its members also work on the first event down in Boston. If you haven't attended that, it's huge, it's amazing, and this year it's at Park Plaza in 2022. I think it's February, and it's one of the oldest and most long-running. That's a really terrible sentence. It's the most successful long-running conference in the Northeast. So everybody, without further ado, give it up for Melissa Rose.
What's happening?
Hi everyone. Happy Pride. So today is not just a happy day, it's a beautiful day, and it's a beautiful day to save lives. Because the truth is, that's what we're all doing today. We're saving lives. I'll come back to that a little bit later, but first I want to tell you a story. I'm going to take you back to the middle of the last century and to a small boy. And the small boy used to come home from school and he would find the quietest, darkest corner of the house, and he would go there and he would sit and he would cry silent tears, sometimes for hours. One day his sister found him, and being a loving sister, she tried to comfort him. She asked the small boy why he was crying, but the small boy could not answer. The small boy did not know that he had an unusually low testosterone level, and would not know this for another 50 years. Sorry, I should have said almost 50 years. What the small boy did know was that the low testosterone level had affected his physical development as an anatomical male. The school he went to required him to play rugby and required him to change in a communal dressing room. So not only did he know about his physical development, all his classmates did too. And perhaps unsurprisingly, his classmates in that day and in that age made his life extremely difficult. They harassed him mentally, they harassed him physically, and they harassed him remorselessly. The small boy couldn't report what was happening to him because the one thing he knew in that day and in that age was that if you told on your schoolmates, then whatever you were going through would only get worse. So that was one reason why the small boy could not answer his sister. But he had another secret, and the other secret was that from the day that he first understood that his elder sister was a girl and he was a boy, he wanted to be a girl. He didn't really understand the difference between the two genders. All he knew was that he wanted to be a girl. As Polana mentioned, there were no positive role models for that back then. The only role models that the boy knew about were comedians who would get up on TV, they would dress as women deliberately badly, and they would invite ridicule. And so the small boy knew that if he told about his desire to be a girl, he would be ridiculed. So he was not able to tell his sister any of these things. So what did he do? He did the only thing that was open to him. The word transgender had not been coined, would not be coined for another 30 years, or certainly not become common parlance for another 30 years. So he had no option. He played a role, he learned to be an actor. More than that, he was a method actor because he inhabited that role. He learned to play the role of a boy and then a young man and then an adult man. He played that role so well that he forgot who he was. It affected every aspect of his life. He literally forgot that he once wanted to be a girl like his sister. Over the years, actually decades, the world changed. And the boy learned that something that he repressed could not stay repressed forever. The longer you repress something, the bigger the pressure grows. So eventually the young boy did come out and is now standing in front of you telling you this story. The story of the coming out is a different story, and I'm going to tell that on Monday, even if only to myself to remind me, rather than today. But where does this lead us? Well, the world is a better place than it was for this young boy when he was growing up, and that's great. But it's not fine. Some of you will know this already, but if you look at what's happening in the world today to the transgender community, 80% of transgender kids report being harassed at school. 70% of transgender adults report being denied medical care. If you're transgender, you're up to 6 times more likely to live in extreme poverty. If you're transgender, you're 4 times more likely to be the victim of violent assault. If you're transgender, you're 30% more likely to attempt suicide. Worse than that, if you've been a victim of violent assault or discrimination as a transgender person, the probability that you will attempt suicide goes up to 50%. I mean, that's a frightening number. So all is not fine in the world. The good news is we can do something about this. This is a fixable problem. The world is much better for the little boy, now the woman standing in front of you, but we can make it better still. Let me just give you one example. Harvard Medical School, together with Mass Gen, recently published some research which showed that any transgender person who has had transgender surgery within the last year is 40% less likely to commit suicide. So let's just stop there for a second. Transgender people are way more likely to attempt to commit suicide. They're way more likely to be denied medical care as a result of their transgender status, and yet giving them that medical care can result in a 40% reduction in attempted suicides. Those are quite startling statistics, and to me it's still almost unbelievable that we have major health insurance companies who are household names that, against the background of those kind of figures, deny medical care to transgender individuals on the basis that they are transgender. We have major employers, including churches in this state, in this city, I won't mention names, who deny medical care under their health insurance policies to people on the basis that they're transgender. That's not good enough, and we have to pressure them to change it. But what else can we do? Well, we can vote for politicians like Chris Pappas, like Polana, like Jerry Cannon, who's going to speak next, who's the honorary chairperson of RNE, the organization that I represent here today. We can do that. Individually, we can be a supportive sibling. If we have a sibling who is transgender or may be transgender, if we're a parent and we have a child who is transgender or maybe transgender, or an aunt or an uncle, or a cousin or a friend or a neighbor, we can do for that person what my sister did for me. I couldn't answer her question, but the comfort she gave me, I don't know, I don't like to speculate what would have happened if I hadn't had her support, and she supports me to this day. But that's something big that we can all do individually, and I invite you all to do it. Renaissance New England is trying to do its part. Anyone who is transgender who would like to know more about Renaissance New England should go to our Facebook page. You'll find it easily. One word I will say is that we don't provide support to transgender youth. And there are 2 reasons for that. One is because there are legal and regulatory barriers to doing that we're not equipped to deal with. But much more importantly, Seacoast Outright is already doing that so well. And our role is to support them and not to supplant them. What we can do is help provide a pathway to trans adulthood for members of Seacoast Outright as they age out of Seacoast Outright, and we're trying to do that. Two specific initiatives that I want to mention. First event, as Chloe mentioned, is one of the longest running and most successful transgender conferences, actually not just in the East Coast, but in the country, arguably in the world. The next first event is not quite in February, it's in June. Sorry, in January, 12th to the 16th of January. And Renaissance New England would like to offer scholarships to youth. You don't have to be a Seacoast Outright member, but we'd like to offer scholarships to youth to attend at least one day of the conference, if they would like to do so this February. Many of my friends who've been to transgender conferences will tell you it's a life-changing experience. You will also learn more about your community in one day at first event than you will anywhere else. That's certainly been my experience and those of other members who have been to first event. So if you're interested in that, please go to our Facebook page and please let us know of your interest. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we're in the process of the concept stage, I would say, of launching a new fund, which will be a transitional relief fund. We already talked about the fact that transgender people can be financially challenged, and that's particularly true as they're going through transition. So if you're in transition and you face particular challenges, we would like to try to do what we can to help. Now at this stage we haven't formally launched, so I definitely don't want to promise and under-deliver. But if you have needs, we'd love to know about them, because they will become part of the story that we use. First of all, to confirm that we're going to go ahead with this initiative. And secondly, we're running a small pilot scheme, and so we may be able to help some people more or less right away without waiting to launch a major fundraising drive. The last point on fundraising is that we are a not-for-profit. We do have a donate button on our Facebook page. So if you'd like to help us in this new initiative with the Transitional Relief Fund and you have a few dollars to spare, please support us, and that will be one other thing that you can do today to save lives. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. You have to say goodbye, hug. Thanks, Melissa, for so eloquently telling us about your story. My heart is always warmed hearing coming out stories, because there's so much Me Too in there, and it's awesome. Thanks, Melissa. So next we have Izzy. Where is Izzy? So Izzy is a sophomore at Exeter High School and part of the Black Lives Matter Seacoast Youth Division as well, where she is the head of the graphic design. Today Izzy has a poem to share, and let's give her a warm welcome to the Pride stage. Awesome. Look, just jump right up.
For liberty and justice for all. We are not your all, for you see us less than people. You see us as a virus you need to hide your kids from, yet we are not contagious. We are like the clouds on a rainy day, just as natural as the rain that falls from them. You stand for your flag and burn ours, stomping on it until it's torn and blackened. Because your pride is glorious, yet ours is dangerous. You find glory in the way slurs slip from between your lips, a smile on your face as you hear these shackles made of homophobia tightened on our wrist, clamped around our ankles. Transphobia, heavy metal sinking us to the bottom of an ocean of injustice. You find pleasure in our pain, the pain you seek out when your savior complex is aching, wanting to be the token one, the savior of all. The only token you are is a token of intolerance, a beacon of ignorance. Justice is a right, yet where is the justice for all the trans women killed, shot, murdered, stabbed? Justice for them will never be an option, for this world is an overlooker, a deep overthinker, and the only thing they're thinking about is another beer, another woman to objectify, another minority to fetishize. liberty, what America seems to preach? How can we be free in this society when we get followed as men scream, wanting to watch two girls kiss because your sexuality isn't valid until I can fetishize it? When little kids are bullied for not being girly enough, not liking trucks enough to be a boy, but if you are a boy who likes boys, you're bad, and a girl liking girls, that's just confusion. A toxic society can't hold liberty, so America, where's your promised lands? For liberty and justice for all, so give me my liberty and give me my justice, because I am sick of not being a part of the all. This is what we fight for. We raise our flags and signs in pride, and we will not lower them until you see us, and you shall see us as equals.
Thank you, Izzy. I wish I could write poetry. Let's give it up for our ALS interpreters today again. I love it. I love having my words interpreted. Like in texts. What did you say? No, God. I'm sorry, Mom. Sorry. So just a quick reminder, I know it's a huge bummer, but this is a masked event. We told the folks at Strawbery Banke we would try to get as many masks on as possible. I know I don't have one because I'm a terrible human and I have a microphone, so I get out of jail free card over here. But if you could just mask up, if you need one, the volunteers have masks, so thank you again, and I apologize. We're gonna get through this, don't worry. Woo! So, another person here who I absolutely adore is Jerry Cannon. Jerry has been speaking about trans topics for over 25 years. She continues to share her stories about discrimination and challenges we all face at work and in public. In 2009, Jerry lobbied for transgender rights, yes, way back in 2009, and same-sex marriage in Concord. That was her first introduction to the New Hampshire State Legislature, and the first time that the legislature got to meet a transgender person. Again, that's not that long ago. The transgender rights bill that year failed, unfortunately, although we did get marriage rights that year in New Hampshire, so hey for that. Since then, she's helped the Freedom New Hampshire campaign, and with the help of many transgender people and their families and allies alike, we passed equal rights for trans folks, non-binary people, in 2018. So I will never stop saying, let's give a huge round of applause for equal rights. Later that same year, Jerry became one of New Hampshire's 2 transgender state representatives, and where she continues to serve the people of New Hampshire. Portsmouth Pride, please welcome the Honorable Jerry Cannon, State Representative for the Somersworth and Rollinsford, New Hampshire.
Thanks, Chloe. Happy Pride, Portsmouth. Finally! I remember hearing about gay and lesbian people in the 1960s. Stonewall happened in 1969, and it actually made the news. There were brief mentions about drag queens and people, but very few mentions of transsexuals. It's not that there were events or information available. You just had to know where it was. In the late 1970s, Harvey Milk made the news. How many of you know who Harvey Milk is? Harvey Milk fought for gay and lesbians in San Francisco. His life ended too quickly. The gay and lesbian movement was just starting to get organized back then. It was making changes. Mentions of transsexual people still weren't publicized. It wasn't until the 1990s when I found more information about transgender people on the internet. I related to them real well. Information about groups making changes to laws that protected gay and lesbians, as well as same-sex marriage, was just starting to make news on a regular basis. In 2005, I was let go from Hewlett-Packard. And I found out that there were no laws protecting transgender people back then. In 2009, we finally got the same-sex marriage passed, but transgender rights
were labeled, anyone remember this? Bathroom bills. Right, Mo? In 2007, we organized the transgender community under the banner of Freedom New Hampshire. And in 2009, we organized and helped to change the laws, to add gender identity to our laws protecting transgender and non-binary people in the state of New Hampshire. Since then, we've continued to make changes. Our job is not done. We've added support for non-binary people on our driver's licenses. That was my bill, by the way. And we've been working hard to make life easier for our students in our schools. That's a big challenge because people want to take it away. Our freedom is in jeopardy. People are claiming that we are taking their rights away and want to rescind laws that we already have legally put in place. If your freedom as an LGBTQ person is important, we need to stand together in unity to fight and keep us all free. I am only one voice in Concord, and we have a few people, only a small percentage, who are part of the LGBT caucus, who raise our voices in unison for us. We need to continue to hear your voices. We need to put faces on who these laws impact. We need you to help us keep your freedom and your children's freedom. If you don't, the ignorant legislators will take it away. Stand with your LGBTQ leaders in Concord. We need your help to help you. Thank you.